Hi, happy Monday everyone. It is time for your Monday weekly STEM challenge. I'm Mrs. Clarkson and today is the first day of Holy Week and Easter is coming up, and I was thinking this morning, it's kind of hard. We're so used to spending Easter with our friends and our family and celebrating so much, and we can't even go to church this week. So sometimes we have to look around us and look at all the great things that God does provide for us. And so that's why I'm doing my STEM challenge outside today on my deck, because it's such a beautiful day out. There's a little bit of a breeze, the sky is blue, the birds are chirping this morning. There was a cardinal right up here in this tree. He was chirping at me. He was talking to me, singing to me. It was a great thing. So I'm really grateful for the things that we have. So today's STEM challenge is going to be all about paper airplanes. But before we get to that, I want to say I loved all the pictures of the boats, the tinfoil boats that everybody sent me. I thought it was fabulous. There were such great designs, and I loved how everybody maybe tried one way and it didn't work, so they kept trying it to see how many pennies they could get in their boat. It was fabulous. And I want to give a special shout out to Nicholas Jones, who his boat held 298 pennies. Wow! Great job, Nicholas. That was awesome. So if you want to see some of the pictures of the boats that other people made, you can get on the school website at c-augustinian.org/STEM-1, and you'll see all the pictures of last week's STEM challenge. All right, so this week, like I said, we're talking about paper airplanes. Right? So before we talk about, give you the actual challenge for building a paper airplane, let's talk a little bit about what makes an airplane fly, right? Because you think about this, real airplanes, right? They're not made out of paper. They're made out of, really heavy stuff. How on earth do they stay up in the sky? It's really quite amazing. So there's two factors that go into keeping an airplane in the sky. One of it is thrust, right? Thrust is what makes the airplane move forward. So on a regular airplane, that would be its engines. It gives it continual thrust moving in a forward direction, okay? On a paper airplane, the thrust is just going to come from the force of you throwing it. That's why your paper airplane won't stay in the air forever. It'll eventually come to the ground because it doesn't have a continual thrust mechanism on it. It's just your initial force that you throw it with, and then it'll drop to the ground, okay? The other thing that keeps an airplane in the sky is called lift. And lift is what happens when the air flows over the wings. So when you have an airplane like this, right, if it's sitting perfectly still, there's air pressure pushing on the wings. There's air pressure pushing on everything around us right now. There's constant air pressure, right? So when it's perfectly still, air pressure is the same, pushing on the wings on both sides, and it'll just drop to the ground, right? If it's not moving, the airplane will just drop straight down. So as an airplane starts moving, the air is flowing over the top of the wings. And airflow, moving air, actually has less air pressure than air just standing still. So that moving air, right? So then there's less air pressure on the top of the wings. That moving air causes the airplane to rise, or lift, which is called lift. So that's what keeps the airplane in the air. The combination of thrust and lift keeps airplanes moving until we want them to land. Okay, so here's a little trick you can try, show off to your parents what you learned about lift. So if you have a piece of paper like this, it's a little breezy out here, so it might be hard to do for me. But so if you have a piece of paper like this, you can see that it droops down, right? It's a strip of paper, it droops down. So I'm going to change the air pressure over the top of the piece of paper and create lift. So watch what happens when I blow over the piece of paper. The paper actually rises up. See how that works? So when I create air moving over the top of the paper, the decrease in air pressure across the top causes the paper to lift. Same concept that causes airplanes to stay in the air. So what you're going to do this week for your STEM challenge, you are going to take just a regular piece of paper. Take this one. Just a plain old white piece of paper, okay? And you are going to create your own paper airplane. And there's many different ways you can fold paper airplanes, okay? Like this one, this is just a basic one like this, right? It takes like 4 or 5 folds and you have it like this. Here's one that's a little bit more advanced that my son Ben folded for us. Okay, and you can get online, even if you do a Google search for paper airplanes for kids. There's some great examples of different types of paper airplanes that you can make. And here's what I want you to do. There's 3 different categories that I want you to shoot for making paper airplanes this week. I want you to make a paper airplane that stays in the air as long as possible. Doesn't necessarily go very far, but it stays aloft longer, okay? The second category is see how far you want a paper airplane to go, as far as possible, right? Distance, we're talking about distance. See how much distance it can cover. So I want you to make that airplane and then measure the distance for me. And then the third one is just get creative, right? I want you to send me the coolest picture of how you designed your airplane. It may not fly, but gosh darn, if it looks cool, that's awesome too. So go ahead and get a piece of paper, start folding, making some paper airplanes. Send me pictures and videos to computerclass@augustinianacademy.org, or you can send them to your teacher and they'll forward them to me. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great Easter, everyone.